Chances are, if you click this video, you're probably wondering if you should fork over the $10 to Steam for Lethal Company. So here's an honest man's review on Lethal Company to help you decide if you want to buy this game or not. There's 9 different moons that you can choose to land on. The moons vary difficulty, with the order being top to bottom, safest to hardest. The map generated inside the moons is a very generic hallway to room maze, with the creator making strides and latest updates to make it different with adding I think it was circular structures inside the maze. It can get very repetitive very fast, but honestly I don't think that's a bad thing with monsters chasing you all around. It's easier to remember. But it can get very repetitive very fast, very annoying very fast whenever you're doing lower levels over and over and over again with new players, new friends, maybe even public lobbies. But while the novelty is still fresh and the hallways haven't all blurred together yet, the map does get the job done. Honestly, I'd say its blandness and its unremarkability add to the horror factor that the game had. There's many things that Zeekers, the creator of the game and a former Roblox dev, did right when making Lethal Company. One of these things is how horrifying it is. I've had at least 4 heart attacks and 2 early signs of a stroke because of this game. One of humankind's most primal fears is the unknown, and I think Zeekers does an incredible job mixing low-light environments with horrible creatures that we know nothing about. The monster design in Lethal Company is great. There's not a single design I would change. I think that for a $10 game that there's more than enough options for you. I think that the 19 monsters featured in Lethal Company show enough diversity and uniqueness to provide hours of gameplay and content. In all honesty, one of the scariest parts of the monsters in this game is not knowing about the monster. So if you want to keep that going for you, please skip this next part. There are 19 monsters in the game currently. For the sake of simplicity and the sake of my sanity, mostly the sake of my sanity, I'm going to briefly mention 14 of them and go into detail with the ones that I think really matter and that you should look out for. So here's the 14, and here's the 6 that I care about. So first we're going to start off with the dog, okay? It's a big red dog. You will not be able to miss it. It does not have eyes, okay? It cannot see. It can only hear, so stay quiet. It has very keen hearing. It will hear you if you talk. It will hear you if you run. But you can walk around it. You don't have to crouch. Next up is the ghost girl. She's a little schizophrenic demon. Only you can see her. She'll just giggle, and when she giggles, that means she's spawned behind you, and she won't attack you till you turn around, so just don't turn around if you hear her giggle. If she does attack you, you're sort of fucked. She instantly kills you. She runs to you, or she can just laugh at you and explode your head if you look at her too long. We have the mimic. The mimic is just it's another player with a mask on. It kills you. It's supposed to trick you and be scary. It is very scary. Definitely cause a couple heart attacks on its own. We got the thumper. The thumper's just on this list because it's so common. It's a little half torso thing. It's very fast going over gaps. It's something in the bestiary says it can't hear well or some shit, but they don't really care. They'll hear you, they'll see you, they'll track you down. It doesn't matter. They'll kill you no matter what. They're probably the most deadly creature in this game just because they're so common. The jester is a horrifying beast. It's basically just a crank up jester doll box, and whenever it cranks up, it heat seeks. My friend says it heat seeks. I don't know how true that is, but apparently it heat seeks onto players inside the map, and it just kills you. It instantly kills you. Next up is the coil head. Think Weeping Angels. Okay, just anything like that one SCP, the statue one. You just can't look away from it or it'll kill you. It runs really fast when you're not looking, and it'll snap your neck. But overall, they are all very dangerous, and there's only very few you can kill. Given that this is an indie game from a single person, I think in its entirety it's a great game. Zeekers did an amazing job combining horror with a deep-rooted desire to scrap everything that's not bolted down. There's very few things I'd change about the game. The only thing I can think of off the top of my head is that I would make it way harder for people who just like to hide inside the ship and give call-out. I think it's an interesting role to play in the game, but I think it's way too easy. I think that ideas like the little girl going out there and attacking them is a great idea, and I think it's a very great counter to the tactics. Other than that though, I'd say it's a perfect mix of silliness and horror.